Baltic Brand Talks, podcast about all things creative and trending.
My name is Andris Rubins and this is Baltic Brand Talks. And without exception, today we have another amazing guest. And she is the head of content at Airbaltic for 22 days. She was a content manager before, so great promotion there. And the name of head of content at Baltic is Arta Uma Upmale. Great to see you, Arta.
Great to see you, Andris. Nice to be here.
Yeah, and welcome back. No secret that you spent a couple of months as an intern many years ago here in our content team. Any sweet memories from that period of time?
Of course. The sweetest memory is working with Popculture campaign, which is like deeply rooted in my heart as one of my, even I would say all-time favorite things I worked on as a social aspect to this campaign and the creative part and being involved in it and painting my own pink mirror at home to bring it for the shoot and everything. So
that was a social campaign to promote breast cancer diagnosis and help mostly women, but not only women, to go over the period and to help with psychological and therapy help. Yeah, that was a great campaign. I really remember how deep you got involved in the concept and idea and actually creating really entertaining content already then. So no wonder you are part of Baltic team, which has been doing amazing job in many aspects, but I would especially put in the center the content that Airbaltic has been putting out. And just a couple of statistics. I mean, Airbaltic TikTok account has 413,000 followers, and some of your videos got 20 million, 90 million likes. So that is truly impressive. So how is it to be part of a Baltic content team, and how do you manage to make it all happen?
It's been a journey. I've been part of Airbaltic for 3 years now. It all started just like a bit of luck of me getting there, of me just seeing a job ad in a place where I was looking for something new, something change in my life with a quite bad experience in another company. And I was like, I need to change something. I'm looking for something great. And I saw Airbaltic ad for a social media specialist. And I was like, okay, this seems like something I would like to try out. And because before, if I go even further back in my history in being in this industry and working here and there in an agency with like a part-time barista and everything.
Photography as well?
Photography as well. I've starting from a quite early age, I would say 19, 20, I had my first experience in working in an agency, doing my own photography, making coffee, like being this stereotypical 20-year-old with a film camera in hand.
Latte art as well?
Yeah,
nice.
Everything. 4th place in Baltic Championship.
All right. The ambition already then.
Random flex. And I couldn't quite find my place working in an agency specifically with content creation, with working with 4 or 5 brands at the same time. And then I tried out working specifically with coffee and content creation. And then that also didn't click for me. And then when I arrived at Airbaltic, this was the place where I was like, whoa, this is something bigger than I've ever seen, that I've ever expected to be a part of. And step by step, starting as a specialist, then a senior specialist, and then bringing my vision of content and how we should communicate on our platforms led me to become the content manager in these 3 years. And now I am also taking care of the whole team.
So how big is the team and what are the roles?
The current content team, we are 7 people.
Yeah.
So it's me. Then there are 2 social media specialists, or I would say content specialists, because it spans out of social media as well. Then we have 3 wonderful people working specifically with creation, which is photography, videography, graphics. And then we have a new addition to our team, which also includes our careers page and working with content specifically on this page.
And content team in Airbaltic is kind of separated from marketing team, or it's basically 2 departments working hand on hand together.
So we are placed kind of in between PR and marketing.
Bridging both.
We're a bridge, that I would say. And currently it's working really good.
Okay.
In a sense that we are not only working with the marketing team and focusing maybe on sales and campaigns, but we also know what's happening in the industry, what we need to focus on, what are the messages that we need to get through the audience, and that comes from the PR team. And then there's us, given quite a big of freedom of our own, and we work as, I would say, like an in-house agency at this point, and we are very encouraged to come with our own ideas and crafting this brand story that we want to tell on social media.
Yeah, we'll come back to those stories and ideas that some of them got very viral and famous, not only in Latvia but globally. But before that, I mean, you said you saw this Baltic ad. Was it also that you responded to? Was it also partly because of the aviation as an industry that is filled with buzz and myth and hype from pop culture, movies and music videos? So what is it like to work in aviation now, since you have spent 3 years there?
It's absolutely as amazing as it seems. I would 100% agree. However, it's not only the excitement, the
not
planes,
only fun,
the allure of traveling. It's mostly that, but it comes with a lot of responsibility, because we cannot forget that aviation is about safety, it's about trust, it's about customer experience with our service, and there comes this balance of our communication, for example, that we cannot go as wild as we can, Top Gun stuff only.
Yeah.
We have to manage these aspects as well. So it's quite a challenge to balance it out, I would say.
And is it also kind of the balancing out that it's state-owned company, but it actually operates as a business organization? So again, it's a bit of hybrid airline also in this sense. And how do you feel like working in the Baltic, more like in a state-owned company or more like a business organization? What kind of comes first?
There's a sweet spot between both when it comes to communication, because when we think about our ideas and how we want to operate, we think as a business, we think as an airline, we think as a global competitor in the industry, which we are as well. But when it comes to crafting specific messages, we have to remember who our audience is, how we communicate it here in Latvia, how we communicate it in the Baltics, and we have to, we cannot forget about that as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, probably you can't really play this patriotic card that you have played a lot in Latvia and also recently in Baltics. I mean, I think the wonderful concept of having Estonian, Lithuanian, Latvian flags as a design for a couple of planes, really, I think, at least for me, it kind of made the difference. That visually stunning flags flying, and it kind of also seeing those photos of the Lithuanian basketball team in front of their flag, Airbaltic plane. So playing this card is only strictly probably to Baltics, and then you have to use some other cards when it comes to Europe and global audiences. So what are those other cards that you are playing with?
When it comes to Baltics, I think these flag, for example, our flag airplanes, they go even beyond Baltics, because that's something unique. Even if we, when we monitor our community, we see that, oh, can we make a Finnish plane? Please make it for Sweden, etc. And our brand recognition goes even further, even if we think it's just for the Baltic states. But when it comes to being a player in the European market, I think it's just not forgetting that we are an international airline and not focus only on the Baltics, even if our name is Airbaltic.
Yeah, and I think it was really smart. For I don't know who was the one who decided to name the company Airbaltic, because I think there are too many airlines which are strictly, Air France and Finnair, and it's kind of, because Baltic is not only Baltic countries, it's also Baltic region, and it really kind of feels much bigger than one country's thing. So I think that was smart. That really helps even today. That's my guess. Would you agree as well?
I would definitely agree, because we all know that we feel like a unified country when we talk about Baltics. We feel that we hold each other's hand there, and we want to be seen on the global stage as big competitors, not only in aviation but other industries as well, when it comes to innovation or tech or anything else. So I would definitely agree that was a really smart move.
And I also happen to spend a lot of time with marketing people from Estonia and Lithuania, and agency people from all three countries, and usually we kind of complain that Latvia is not as strong in, we don't have as many unicorns as Lithuania, as Estonia has, and we are not as aggressive in terms of exporting, and expanding our businesses, especially in retail, as Lithuania. But when it comes to Baltic or airlines, both of our neighbors, they watch at me and look at me and say, Andris, shit, this is something that we are really jealous about.
Yeah, I think we as Latvians, we forget that sometimes, because I've heard this as well from people from different industries when I talk to them, or hearing it from friends that. Damn, you have an airline. That's huge. And our mission is not being only a Latvian airline, as we talked before, but we're connecting the Baltics with the world. So that's our message as well, that we want to bring through, that it's not only Latvia, it's
and
all
there
of
are
us
many
together.
more and more these direct flights from Estonia, Lithuania, even Finland, which is great. But still, again, if you compare the number of direct flights that we are, it's our luxury, I would say, that we can have day by day.
And we work as a hub for Lithuania and Estonia as well. They fly via Riga to reach all of their destinations.
So let's move back to content. I mean, you are the head of content, and there, of course, is a old but still famous saying that content is king and context is queen. Or would you agree or disagree? Being so deeply in it.
Can you imagine if I would disagree?
I don't know.
As a head of content, no, content is not king.
Maybe there's more kind of, maybe there's new way you would describe like how important content is for the brand and brand building.
I think it's, first of all, looking at the saying itself, content is king, that it's living, I think, since the 90s, and it's still true today, which is crazy to me that we were able to predict this even so far in the future, and that it's still very important today.
Well, maybe it has moved, from cinema theaters to TikTok, and from, I don't know, from radio shows to Spotify and so on. So, but I think it's still.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's moved, but that it's expanding. Because all of the rest of the sources of content that we get, they still exist, and they're still needed, and they're still important. And I definitely agree, because when it comes to brand communication, we don't necessarily need one big campaign to get our message across. In our team, our work is more of a daily basis communication. We don't work so much with larger campaigns, with half-year campaigns or whatever. And doing this daily communication and building these audiences on different platforms and reaching them when we need them, it's incredible. It gives our company context. It gives us our human side. We can, it drives engagement. It drives our brand image. There's so many important aspects when it comes to working deliberately on content creation.
Yeah. And so what are the most important platforms at the moment that you see that the engagement really happens?
Depends what's the audience that we want to reach. Because I would say currently, if we talk about becoming very known worldwide and getting our brand awareness across continents, I would say even, TikTok plays a major role. And we don't use this channel as a sales channel or anything. We build our brand, we build our image there, and it has allowed us to become even more, I would say, approachable as a brand. And this is where we really focus our attention, in the sense that we want to keep this going, but it's not the only platform that we use. When it comes to our operational needs and getting across the messages of our business itself, LinkedIn has become a really, really important player for us. There is the audience that we can reach as industry leaders, and sharing also our experiences, our employee stories, our growth plans and provisions. It's a platform that's very important in this industry.
Yeah, and I also see that even Martin Gauss, the CEO of Airbaltic, is pretty active in LinkedIn and X or Twitter. Is it also a part of your kind of vision how that content has to come not only from the brand but also from these key?
Definitely. Even if we have done some A/B testing afterwards with the same message that we have tried to get across from our channels, and then when he puts his own spin and he tells the story from his side of view, it can reach even bigger audiences than we can. Because some content which is not necessarily entertaining or fun, it's harder to get the message across. And when he does it from his channels, which is also part of our communication strategy, it's better for someone real, for a human, for the head of the company to talk about these things.
And how often can you use the same content basically on every platform? It's mostly kind of very personalized approach to each of the platforms.
It's very personalized, I would say. That's why also our work is quite challenging. There are some topics that we can share on different channels, the same type of content. But for example, if we look at TikTok, the humor that we use there, the community that we have built, and what they expect from us on this platform, for example, will not work on Instagram, which is, it might seem surprising that
it is.
Everyone says that Instagram Reels, that's something that just older TikTok videos. But for us, our audiences differ in TikTok and on Instagram. And when it comes to of course, bigger news and bigger messages, we tailor the content for each platform. And we sometimes think that, if we communicate it on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn, probably everyone's seen it who needs to see it. But then let's even put a spin for more serious news, for our growth story on Instagram as well. And it reaches even bigger audiences and gets even bigger engagement that it would, for example, on Facebook. So it's important to keep trying and testing and never think that, if we've done this before, we must continue doing this. But
it's like looking over your TikTok account and the videos, you like and there are different themes, but I think the dancing, kind of the dance moves, are something that keeps coming back.
I think
and probably it's also responding to different trends that I feel Airbaltic is really kind of a master, like could give a master class how to respond to trends, but then also add your own twist, which is I think very important. Not just copy paste it, but kind of have your personality.
Yeah, what we're trying to do and what's like our mantra is to not push something that's not going to work on the platform, but rather to adapt it, to see what's trending, what we can jump on, and how we can include aviation in that story, not the other way around. How we can say this message on this platform. When it comes to, if we talk about our TikTok, which is, I think, one of the funnest things that our team was able to work on and grow the platform up to almost 500,000 followers, which is, we're really proud as a Baltic brand that we've been able to do it. And when it comes to TikTok, it's people ask us, how do you monitor the trends? Like how did you know that that's going to work? And what I can say is, if you work in content, make sure that your team members have good sense of humor. That's been the key aspect, that it's not a platform that analyzes trends for us. It's us who consume the content as well, being online and seeing what's trending and jumping like this on the trends. And we can be on a Tuesday meeting discussing, okay, what we've seen on the platform. We share our ideas and we're like, all right, we need to get the crew, we need to get some pilots. Let's see who's working today, who we can grab by hand. Let's go call up our technicians, we need a plane, and it goes like this. And we have this system structured at this point, how we can get this content made as fast as possible, which is key for this platform as well.
Yeah, in-house team probably helps in kind of in the speed where really kind of it's a matter of hours or sometimes days, but definitely if you happen to to react too late, it wouldn't work as well.
And especially in aviation where it's not surprising, but it takes quite a lot to get a video done, to get organized, the plane, the apron, the employees and everything. So I think it's possible for us, at least, working in aviation because of the in-house team.
And how about this employee engagement? I mean, most of the stars or actors are your, stewardesses or pilots, so basically employees. Is it, are they open? Are they kind of enjoying it? Or it's more like, okay, that's my somebody asked me to do it, I'll do it.
In the beginning, when TikTok was quite new and content creation as such, which is like more of this lo-fi content, which is not huge productions, there was some hesitance to jump on because it was not understood. It was something new, something they've never done before. And then when we made our first successful videos, people were like lining up. We got our social media box filled with applications. We also have a program within the company, which is our ambassador program within the company to become part of content creators from Airbaltic. And it's been such an important tool for us, our employees. We wouldn't be as successful if we wouldn't have our amazing employees who are willing to jump on these trends and film videos with us and go this extra mile and also bring something from their own point of view, even not working with content. And this has allowed us to make a new perspective of Airbaltic.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking only about TikTok, I'm talking about other platforms where we, for example, LinkedIn, we share our employee success stories and everything. And we've made our brand human. And this has been one of the main shifts that we've seen. We even see that when we don't use our employees in our content, which is entertainment content,
Yeah.
it doesn't perform.
All right.
We've built our audience to expect us to show the behind the scenes, and the community, it responds incredible. The comments that we get, oh my God, I want to work for you. It looks so fun. You have so amazing colleagues. And here we can step into the employer brand as well, which goes hand in hand. And yeah, in our we work closely with HR here as well. And they give us feedback that they mention our social media in almost every job interview. And we see the importance of doing this.
I think Airbaltic is constantly among the most appealing employer brands and employers in Latvia and Baltics probably as well. Let's talk about competition, because somehow it feels like, Baltic is, this leader, global, almost, European, which is not really true. I mean, we are, still, I would say, challenger brand in many sense. So what you see are the most maybe inspiring competitors in terms of content. And of course, we all have seen that Ryanair is pretty visible and also quite savage in the way they use humor. So yeah, what would you say about the Ryanair? Maybe other competitors? Can you what's maybe you can learn something from them, or you kind of position Airbaltic against them, or do you never actually look what they create?
Oh no, we see what they create.
Right.
Definitely. Their approach is super bold.
You mean Ryanair?
Ryanair, yeah. I'm talking about Ryanair. It's so unapologetically, I wouldn't say rude, but they play with this constant, like you're not even laughing with them. They are allowed to laugh at you. And
which is often the rule that, we have what you shouldn't do in the marketing.
Exactly. But for them, it works. We cannot apply it. I don't think there are even many brands who can apply this strategy. But because of their brand persona that they have, cheap flights, not too many amenities, charging for everything, not really caring about the comfort, but just getting you from point A to B, super straightforward, bold. They can do it. Even if you look at Ryanair's CEO, you've probably seen how he talks, how he wants to charge for everything, how he doesn't care what other people think about them. But they are industry leaders. And that's why their strategy like this works, where they can, make these bold messages online. For us, we balance humor differently. We want our audience to laugh together with us, to have this lighthearted view, which is our brand as well. And we cannot forget that our audience is not only young people who are, for example, using Ryanair, but we also have our European business class. We have our business audience, and that's why we manage humor in a different way than Ryanair does.
And probably again, knowing that Airbaltic is still, state-owned company, probably it also kind of gives you a little,
like a frame
where you can't kind of afford to really kind of just jump on grannies. And
I would like to say that we still allow us to create humor content. We are not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And I think people have also noticed that we are, even if the state is involved in some processes, when it comes to content, we are not afraid to talk about any global events or happenings, or using humor, entertainment. So,
well, you mentioned humor a couple of times. Like how important is humor? I mean, for Baltic, but also generally. What's your opinion? Can humor make the whole difference, or it's not as important?
even if we look at interactions between people, imagine taking humor out. What do we have?
Oh my God!
Even if in the
Probably
most
the biggest nightmare world.
see, so when it comes to brands, we should, in my opinion, look at the same as we look at people. Because brands are people. People are behind brands. We create them. So we know that in the most difficult life situations, we use humor to cope with everything. And when it comes to brands, we cannot take it out. It needs to go hand in hand. We need to know when we need to be serious about something, which are the topics that we need to be head on serious. We know that we're talking about business. But then when we know we can let go, just be free. So it's very, very important that brands don't forget it. I think it's quite challenging to use humor in a good sense. Again, I want to bring back that you need people who have good sense of humor to read the room, to see what's working and what's not. And with the current global look at the humor itself, people can be very sensitive to a lot of topics, so you cannot forget about that as well. And then there's this fine line of managing humor for brands.
Yeah, the good news, we will have even more of topic on humor as a very powerful weapon in our Baltic Brand Forum, where you will participate. Also this year in September, Riga Circus.
Everyone buy tickets.
Yes, please do, because Airbaltic will help us to fly in many fantastic speakers and guests and panelists and performers. I don't want to brag too much, but we'll have one of the best Estonian comedians coming in, one of the very super cool performers from Lithuania coming in, and we'll have the circus artists from Latvia coming. So again, mark your calendars, September 20. And make sure you also hear what Arta has to say, even more than we will probably manage to discuss here today. Yeah, and coming back to humor and content, and also responding to trends, I think one of the areas that Airbaltic also has been very powerful is responding to kind of significant events, which are maybe not real trends. Often they kind of meet each other, like big event like Eurovision, for example, or ice hockey world championships, or basketball global tournaments and so on. I think another great example that I've saw time after time, that how Baltic reacts to those big events. Definitely for Latvia, but again also often for other countries as well. And of course, I can't not mention the amazing gig you did with airplane pool karaoke video with Dons, which was our Eurovision contestant this year, and finally got to finals after many years of being left behind this line. So how do you approach those events, and how did the airplane pool karaoke with Dons was created?
So for us, the benefit is that often of times we are next to these events, in a sense that we bring people to their destinations. For example, Dons to Eurovision, or basketball players to their games, and we already are there present as a brand, as transporting them to these very important events. But even if we take that out, we have a team, which is our social media support team. So this is also very important to our community building, but there's also part of social listening. So we are on top of the game, and we are always monitoring what's happening. So I would say that's been a really great tool, in addition to our whole team. And we are already marking it forward in the future. We know that there's going to be XYZ event. We are already listening. We are seeing what's happening, and then we are jumping on when it's needed to.
So which is the next big event?
Baltic Brand Forum.
Oh, right. Yeah. Probably ice hockey Olympic tournament and then some others.
And when it comes to dance and Eurovision in general, we already, when it comes the time around May, when Eurovision is happening, we already know that they are going to reach out to us, because we are always there to support Latvia and the Baltics in these big events. We want to be next to them. We want to bring them to their success. And we knew that it was dance. And we were already starting to discuss, what could we do? Because we know we're probably going to fly him there. And when we looked at him and at us, we saw such a alignment with his personal brand and Airbaltic's brand, especially when it comes to humor. And as we know, Don's used humor so good in growing his audience. I think there was a switch how the public perceived him, because before he was really like mysterious, not talking too much,
kind of
not
introvert,
and then he showed a completely different side with his humor, and we knew that we wanted to do something with this humor aspect. And we sat down, we started discussing, and it was just a random idea from our colleague in our team. What about carpool karaoke? And we're like, yes, but let's do it in the flight deck. Yes, and let's bring an actual pilot in.
Yeah.
Yes, and let's make him as a pilot. And
let's use the actual Eurovision song.
And thank you, Don. Thank you, Universal Music. And the pilot in the video was our own pilot. He was so excited to actually participate. We started writing some script down, let them do their own thing as well. And it was just 3 GoPros stitched to the plane, some mics, and that's it. It was so simple. The production didn't cost us almost anything. And you see how these content ideas, when you have a good idea, you don't need a huge campaign to get it across. You just need a good idea.
Yeah, and great content and in right timing, right? I mean, if you would do it now, probably wouldn't be as kind of shareable content as it was before Eurovision, which I would say partly definitely helped. And this
we had actually a strategy when we communicated this video on the outside. We targeted the countries that are going to be in our semi-final. So we targeted our voters, and we would like to think that we helped at least 1%.
No, I'm sure of it, because I mean I think Dons is amazing artist and the song is great, but still I mean the whole voting thing it's so difficult to make other countries to really like somebody that they just saw for the first time. So I think the more you have happened to hear or see the group or the band before, definitely helps. So I think that was a great collaboration with also a couple of other brands that jumped on and helped us. Have you actually thought about doing similar gigs with Estonian, Lithuanian Eurovision artists, or did you do something?
This year we didn't, but I think this year especially we have started to communicate more with our Estonian and Lithuanian audiences, as we are also growing in these markets. So we are tailoring more native content for them as well in their own native languages. And we are starting to see this switch that they are loving us even more, which I hope continues. And let's see, maybe next year we include them as well. But we have collaborated for sports events with their national teams, and let's see if we can do it for Eurovision next year.
Like flying, like you do these nice flights above Freedom Monument with Latvian team. Have you tried something similar in Tallinn, Vilnius?
Not yet.
Yeah, probably.
But I think as we're growing there, we will have to do that.
Yeah. I think the whole notion that, and I think that switch also happened for Baltic in Estonia, Lithuania, a couple of years ago when with those flags
Mhm.
and with kind of having more direct flights for their countries. And I think that having more like individual personal approach towards each of those countries definitely will help to boost this Baltic brand image. And I think not so many years ago, it was really kind of, when I asked Estonian, they were saying like it's a Latvian national airline. So it was kind of dominating. Yeah. Yeah. So sounds like great plans ahead. and yeah, there are a couple of questions that we ask every guest that happens to come to visit us or that we talk remotely with. So yeah, one is which other brands you admire and why is that?
Great question, because one of my favorite saying is still like an artist, which in a sense is just seeing what other people do, what other brands do. For me, some standouts are definitely our own Baltic brand, Bolt.
Yeah.
Just seeing how they use their, also great podcast episode, by the way, listen to it.
Thank you. And also a great collab between Baltic and Bolt in
Yes,
last
I wanted to
Fool's
mention
Day.
it as well, yeah. And just seeing how they think outside of their box. They bring in so many different aspects on how to approach their brand. Their message of making the cities for people and bringing kids and building campaigns around it, and also being reactive to what happens with the in the industry and who mentioned them. And yeah, that's one of the highlights for me. And also, yeah, as you mentioned, we collaborated together. Bolt actually reached out to us, and we were starting to discuss that this is a great match. And then idea by idea, from our side, from their side, we created Airbaltic, and actually offering these coupons as well for discounted rides with them, and then using our audience and platform. And that was also just a few people coming together, making great content. And then another one I would say is IKEA, which stands out to me because they're an international brand, but they use their local audiences with content and with campaigns and tailor it to specific markets. And that's where I can also see and learn and bring some ideas to my own team.
Yeah, and again, a lot of very humorous, witty ads that IKEA has historically and even today, putting out is really what makes us love IKEA. Besides, of course, sustainability initiatives and the whole kind of business model where you can really kind of become your own kind of designer and put things together, which brings joy, even though brings also hassle. Yeah, that's both are great examples. And coming back to Bolt and Baltic, I mean, this partnership idea, because I think doing brand partnerships is fantastic tool for both parties. If you find organic kind of match, and also if you can steal some of their customers, not steal, but let's say attract,
yeah.
And it goes both ways usually. Do you see it as one of the tools also in the future?
Definitely. I know that when it comes to brand partnerships, when we talk about aviation, you have to be quite careful to see if your audiences align and they match. But I think that's something to be explored in the future.
Yeah. All right. But you have a good start here. So where do you get your inspiration? I mean, people happen to listen to podcasts and travel a lot. I suppose that's one of your inspiration sources, being part of Airbaltic.
Yeah.
I know that it's almost part of the salary.
It's one of the, if we're talking about this, it's a great benefit of working in aviation. Not only Airbaltic, but aviation as such. If you love to travel, then step your feet into aviation, and your world will open up. But for me, I think I actually need to plan some travel plans. I feel like that's something needed to be done soon. But I think my inspiration comes when I look at other industries. So not only consuming content about content creation and not only seeing what other brands do with their content, but it's just seeing what else is happening in the world. So for me, it's just turning off my brain for new ideas. So it's definitely sports. I get inspiration when my mind is at ease. So bike riding, and my newest obsession is paddle. I would and suggest to people try
community.
out. Yeah. Also meeting people there, new people, and talking with them. And one of my favorite podcasts now is Lex Friedman podcast. If you've heard about it, he dives into these super long conversations with different opinion leaders, actors, artists.
Have to check it out.
Innovators, engineers, like super broad spectrum of people. He just released, I think, a 6-hour episode with Elon Musk.
All right.
But that's just a bit too much. But just he approaches them with such humble way, and they have so grounded conversations, and that's where I just love listening. And you see also the human side of the people who seem unattainable. So that's one of my recent.
One of my recent favorites in the podcast world is 4-hour episode stories from Acquired. Probably you've heard. I think it's a 4th or the 5th season or even more. But and again, it's you see it's going to be 4 hours, and you think crazy. I will never have enough time to even listen it. But when you start,
you can't stop.
It gets addictive because they really are amazing storytellers, and they research those companies and brands that they talk about, and they also interview like these founders, and it's also a great inspiration for myself as well. All right, yeah, should play paddle tennis probably once in a while.
We can look at our calendars and plan something.
Yeah, and if you happen to look, in your future, maybe what's one of your ultimate dreams, or what would the ultimate success for you look like in the next coming years?
I think. My journey in content and at Airbaltic is already moving forward, and this is currently the place I want to be, and see what else we can do, how big we can grow, and how we can make difference in brand communication when it comes to content. That's if I talk about my current.
So in a way, you're living the dream.
I'm living the dream, yeah. And when it comes to like my moonshot goal, as you would call it, I think the success to me, trying not to be too cliche here, but never to have only one goal that I want to reach. So it's success to me is always allowing things to happen with me, and to go with the flow, I would say. So I hope it makes sense. Just to be
kind of keep experimenting. That you mentioned, like from your background story, where you were trying, all different kind of crafts and skills and jobs.
Because who knows where I'm going to be in 10 years? I want to keep my options open. I'm not focusing that this is the only career path I want to go, but I think a lot of creative minds will agree with this, that you can just change things when you feel like it.
Yeah, so let's not lock our goals, and let's be open to opportunities that life can bring. So Arta, I have to thank you so much for coming in and sharing professional and also personal stories here. And thanks everyone for joining the Baltic Brand Talks episode. This is not the last we hear from you. As we already discussed, you'll also be one of the speakers at Baltic Brand Forum on September 20th in Riga Circus. And together we will try to figure out why and where humor has gone missing, because we know that apart from Airbaltic and a couple of other brands, the humor has not been as frequent guest as we saw it some years ago. And maybe we can all together bring it back. So maybe you can give a sneak peek of into what attendees could expect from you at Baltic Brand Forum.
So at the Baltic Brand Forum, you can, first of all, just come to me, meet me, talk about humor, about TikTok, about any other platform that you would like. And I will be part of a panel. So I look forward to talking with other industry professionals and discuss how we can use humor in our content, in our brand image building, and see you there.
So no sneak peeks here. Just come to Riga Circus and enjoy the live, improvisation, probably what often discussions are about. All right. Thank you once again, and see you soon.
Thank you, Andris.